Good afternoon. Good afternoon to all the students. Dear students, now today I am going to discuss the topic disinfection. This is the part of your subject, that is water supply and treatment engineering. It comes under module 4 and part 1 of the module 4. So what is disinfection? So disinfection, the word itself is suggesting you that disinfection means killing the bacteria. In fact, disinfection, so removing the infection due to the bacteria, like that. Okay. Now this disinfection is the last process of the water treatment unit. So before this, there are some other treatments have been carried out, that is screening, aeration, sedimentation and filtration. So all these processes are completed. After this process, the last process, which is called as disinfection, is carried out. So this process is also very important as far as the treatment of the water is concerned. Under this, today I am going to discuss some 4 subtopics of this disinfection. Okay, what are they? First, I will discuss introduction, and next I will discuss about the minor methods of disinfection, and third one I will discuss the major method of disinfection, that is chlorination. Sorry, third one. And fourth subtopic, I am discussing about the doses of the chlorine. What are the doses of the chlorine to be given to the water for making effective disinfecting? Okay. So these are the things today I am going to discuss. Dear students, try to understand clearly. It is quite interesting topic, because it is not only concerned about your syllabus, but also it is concerned about day-to-day life, because in our day-to-day life also we know what is the importance of the disinfection, what is the importance of the pure water. So for that purpose, this is not only the subject matter of your syllabus, but also subject matter of our day-to-day life. So this knowledge will be useful for us in throughout our life. So first part I am going to discuss, that is introduction. So introduction, see, the filtered water which is obtained either from the slow sand filters or rapid sand filters may normally contain some harmful diseases. So what I mean to say is, after completion of treatment, that is screening, aeration, sedimentation and filtration, all these treatments are done for the purpose of removing the impurities present in the water. So all the types of impurities, that is physical impurities, chemical impurities and biological impurities. So disinfection is majorly for removing the biological impurities. Now, after completing all these processes, that is screening, aeration, sedimentation and filtration, even some minute particles of bacteria will be present in the water. So therefore, majorly for removing or killing or making deactivation of bacteria, this disinfection is necessary, and this is the last process of the water treatment plant. Now, these bacteria must be killed in order to make the water safe for drinking. Okay. So chemicals used for killing bacteria are known as disinfectants. So what are the disinfectants? These are the chemicals which are used for the killing the bacteria, and this process is known as disinfection. Okay, disinfection. So disinfection not only removes the existing bacteria from the water at the plant, but also ensures the immediate killing even afterwards. Okay, the chemicals which are used as a disinfectant must be therefore be able to give this residual sterilizing effect for a long period. That means after killing the bacteria which are present in the water, up to certain duration of time also it must act. So that is required for a good disinfection. Okay. So in actually there are so many disinfectants being used, so which are classified as minor disinfectants or minor methods of disinfection, and the other one is the major method, that is chlorination. So among these two, chlorination is very important. So The chemical which is used as disinfectant must therefore be able to give this residual sterilizing effect for a long period. One thing is known. And chlorine has been found to be best and most ideal disinfectant and is now invariably used throughout the world. So for water treatment process, this chlorine is completely used for the disinfection in different ways. So besides chlorine, there are, however, other minor methods of disinfection. So we will discuss these minor methods before taking up the chlorination separately. So let us do these minor methods first. So minor methods of disinfection. Now, what are the minor methods of disinfections? So there are about 6-7 minor methods of disinfection that I am going to discuss. So now see, these are the 7 methods of the minor methods of disinfection. So one is boiling of water. Second one is treatment with excess lime. That is treatment of the water with excess lime. And third one is treatment with ozone. And fourth one is treatment with iodine and bromine. Fifth one is treatment with ultraviolet rays. Sixth one is treatment with potassium permanganate. And seventh one is treatment with silver called electrocatadine process. So these are the different minor methods which are being used for the treatment of the water. So treatment means for disinfection majorly. Now what I want to tell is actually these are the minor methods which are used for the limited quantity of water, small quantity of water treatment. But for the large quantity of water, for huge quantity of water, the major method, that is chlorination itself, is being used. So now first let us discuss these minor methods one by one, slightly in brief. Okay. So these methods are summarized like this. Now one is boiling of water. Okay. So boiling of water, we already know it. Generally in our household activities also we are practicing this. During rainy season, generally when the water is contaminated, if it is doubtful of purity, then we generally boil the water for killing the bacteria. Commonly it is being used in epidemics also we are doing it, and during rainy season we are doing it. Okay. Now the bacteria present in water destroyed by the boiling it for long time. So generally long time means for 10 minutes water is to boil. So it is an effective method of disinfection. Boiling is an effective method of disinfection, but it is not practically possible to boil large quantity of water. Okay, large, that is huge volume of public water supplies. So therefore the boiling is limited for only small quantity of the water. So moreover, after boiling it can only kill the existing bacteria and it cannot take care of the future possible contamination. So boiling water, once it is boiled, it will be killing bacteria which are present at that time, and that will be not safe after 24 hours. If once the water is boiled, generally it will be giving protection up to 24 hours. After that it will not give the protection. It may be likely to be contaminated again. So boiling is one method which is minor method, and second one is treatment with excess lime. So this is one of the minor method. So this lime is generally used water purification plant for softening the water. So for hardness, for reducing the hardness, if the water is containing hardness, so to reduce the hardness of the water, lime is mixed. So even for the killing bacteria also it can be used. So if the extra lime is added to the water, then it will be acting as a germicidal up to the certain extent. So treatment with excess lime is also one of the minor method. Again, this will be useful for the small quantity of water. Okay. Now let us go to the third part, that is third method, that is treatment with ozone. So ozone gas is a faintly blue gas of pungent odor and is an excellent disinfectant. So it is considered as very excellent disinfectant. So ozone gas is nothing but an unstable allotropic form of oxygen with each of its molecule containing 3 oxygen atoms. So it can be produced by passing high tension electric current through a stream of air in a closed chamber. So ozone is also one of the method which we can use as a disinfectant for the water. That is minor method. And fourth one, let us see, that is treatment with iodine and bromine. So this treatment with iodine and bromine is also one of the method. The addition of the iodine or bromine to water can help in killing the pathogenic bacteria and thereby disinfecting the same. So the quantity of these disinfectants may be limited to about 8 ppm and a contact period of 5 minutes. So it must be at a duration of 5 minutes it is contacted with the water, and the quantity must be 8 ppm per liter. So okay, 8 ppm parts per million liter. So that can be added to the water for treating the water for disinfection. And nowadays what is happening is, nowadays these also available, this that is iodine and bromine pills are also available. They are available in the form of pills, and they are very easy to use, they are handy, and these pills are also directly added to the water to disinfecting the water. Okay, but these are also again not used in the large scale, only for swimming pools and for private plants, water plants and army troops. There they are being used, because at everywhere the major treatment process may not be done. In such cases, and minor treatments are utilized. They are easy and handy. Okay. And now, next one is the treatment with ultraviolet rays. So ultraviolet rays, invisible light rays. These are the invisible light rays having wavelengths of 1000 to 4000 microampere. They are basically found in sunlight, but can also be produced by electric current through mercury enclosed in quartz bulbs. So this method is used for treating swimming pool waters in developed countries. So treatment of ultraviolet rays is also most commonly used. And nowadays in water treatment plant, in bottling of water, so you see we are getting the filtered water. So in bottling water, in certain industries, this ultraviolet rays is also being done for the water treatment. Now the next one is sixth one, that is treatment with potassium permanganate. So this is used as a popular disinfectant for disinfecting well water supplies in villages. So in small villages or taluka place where the well water or tank water are to be disinfected, this treatment is most suitable. That is potassium permanganate is mixed with the water. So actually this is used as a popular disinfectant for disinfecting well water supplies in villages which are generally contaminated with lesser amount of bacteria. So that means if there is only little amount of bacteria is there, so this will be most useful, potassium permanganate. So if there are more bacteria, then it may not be workable. So besides killing bacteria, this potassium permanganate, besides killing bacteria, it also helps in oxidizing the taste producing organic matter. So if some organic matter is present in water, it will give bad taste. So that taste also can be reduced by mixing the potassium permanganate. So this is the sixth method of minor method of disinfection. Now last one, that is the seventh, treatment with silver or electrocatadine process. So this one is also one of the minor method of disinfection. So here metallic silver ions are introduced into the water. What is being done? Metallic silver ions are introduced into the water by passing it through a tube containing solid silver electrodes, so which are connected to a DC supply of about 1.5 volts. So the so introduced silver coins have a strong germicidal action and thus act as a disinfectant. So see, this one is all these are actually 7 methods are there, minor methods of disinfection, but all these are not useful for the large quantity of water where the municipal water treatment is required, and corporation water treatment is required, where that is in terms of MLD, that is million liter per day. So million liter per day water is being supplied. So the number of millions, 50 million liters per day, 60 million liter per day, like that water is to be supplied in such large and huge quantity of water. These minor methods may not be useful. They are useful for the small units. Okay, so these are all the minor methods of disinfection. And next I am discussing is chlorination. So chlorination is one of the major method of disinfection, and which is most commonly used throughout the world. Okay, so chlorination, let us discuss now. So chlorine in its various forms is invariably and almost universally used for disinfecting public water supplies. Okay, it is cheap, reliable, easy to handle, easily measurable, and above all, it is capable of providing residual disinfecting effects for long periods. So that means once the chlorine added, it is not only killing the bacteria which are present in the water, but also after the effect, that is after some long period for 2 days, 24, after 24 hours, up to 48 hours, it will be giving the effect of killing the bacteria if the water once again comes in contact with the contamination. Okay, so thus affording complete protection against the future decontamination. So it is providing complete protection against the future decontamination of the water in the distribution system, because once the water is completely treated, it is stored in a particular tank called as overhead tank, and from the overhead tank it will be supplied to the community. So in storing the water and in distribution, there is some time is consumed. So during that period there should not be any contamination. Therefore some residual chlorine will be left in the water, so that the further contamination will not be taking place. So it is only, but chlorination, it has only one disadvantage, that when used in greater amounts, it imparts bitter and bad taste to the water. So if the more quantity of water is added to the water, then it will give a bad taste, and there is some minor side effect will be there. Okay, so now let us go to the next part, that is disinfecting action of chlorine. So how the disinfection action will be taken place by chlorine when it is added with the water, that we shall see. So here, when chlorine is added to the water, it forms hypochlorous acid or hypochlorite ions, which have an immediate and disastrous effect on most forms of microorganisms. So microorganisms, bacteria you can say, whatever the organisms which are present in water, they are also called microorganisms. Bacteria means not in the sense of only bacteria, virus, microorganisms, all these are actually disinfected. So all these are killed. So when chlorine is added to the water, it forms hypochlorous acid or hypochlorite ions, which have an immediate and disastrous effect on most forms of microorganisms. So the reactions that take place are, so here the some reaction, the equations are written how the reaction will be taken place when the chlorine is added into the water. So first reaction, see, that is Cl2 plus H2O is producing HOCl and HCl. So here HOCl is hypochlorous acid. Okay, this hypochlorous acid is unstable and may break into hydrogen ions and hypochlorite ions as follows. So here it is the second equation, that is HOCl, that is hypochlorous acid, is breaking into the H plus ions and OCl ions. So OCl means hypochlorite ions. So one positive ion and one negative charge. So moreover, the chlorine will be immediately react with ammonia present in water. So it also reacts with the ammonia present in water to form various chloramines as given below. So when chlorine is reacting with ammonia, it forms three types of chloramines, which are also useful for the disinfection process. So what are these chloramines? Let us see. So you see these equations. In these three equations, it is clearly making you to understand that when chlorine is added to the water, so this reaction will also take place. So what is that? Moreover, the chlorine will immediately react with ammonia. So NH3 plus HOCl is giving out NH2Cl plus H2O. So NH2Cl is monochloramine, and in second equation NHCl2, see, that is dichloramine. So in second equation NHCl2 plus HOCl is giving out NHCl2 plus H2O. So here NHCl2 is a dichloramine, and third equation NHCl2 plus HOCl is reacting and producing NHCl3 plus H2O. So here NHCl3 is nitrogen trichloramine. So monochloramine. So that means ammonia present in the water will form various chloramines. So one is monochloramine, dichloramine, and third one is trichloramine. So these are produced in the water, which are also responsible for the disinfection. So all these chloramine, how they act in the water, I'll just show. It depends on the pH content of the water. So the monochloramine predominates at pH value of over 7.5 of water. So if the pH value is 7.5 and above, then the monochloramine will be predominant, and dichloramine is predominant in the range of pH 5 to 6.5, and nitrogen trichloramine is prominent in the range below 4.5 pH. So if the pH are different like this, then they are acting at different pH level. So monochloramine is acting above the 7.5 pH value, and dichloramine is acting in between 5 to 6.5 pH, and trichloramine is acting at pH below 4.5. Thus, in the usual chlorine treatment, when pH is kept slightly less than 7, so dichloramine formation is the most predominant. So dichloramine is also useful for disinfecting the bacteria, that is disinfection means killing the bacteria. Okay, disinfection of water. So the chloramines so formed are stable. So these three chloramines are stable and are found to possess disinfecting properties. They can also remove odor from water, but only to a certain extent. So they can also remove the odor. Odor means bad smell if water is there. So if water is containing some organic matter, it gives bad smell, and even bad taste also it gives. So this also can be up to certain extent removed. So this is one important thing which we can remember. So chloramines are very important, which are produced in the water after mixing the chlorine, and which are giving best action on the bacteria. So the germicidal action of the free chlorine, okay, or combined chlorine is explained by the recent theory of enzymatic hypothesis, according to which, what is that enzymatic hypothesis? See, I have underlined the portion over here. Okay, go through the underlined portion. The chlorine enters the cell walls of the bacteria and reacts with the all kinds those enzymes, reacts with and kills those enzymes which are essential for the metabolic process of living organisms, thus bringing about the disinfection. So this chlorine enters the cell walls of the bacteria and they will kill those enzymes. So bacteria having certain enzymes in their body, so those enzymes are killed. So after enzymes are making inactive, so the bacteria also become inactive. Okay, this is one how it is chemically acting on the bacteria. Okay, so this is all about the chlorination. And now let us see the last part of chlorination, the doses of chlorination. So dose of chlorination. So chlorine, of course, it is good, it is well and good, but even though it is very good disinfectant, but everything has got certain limit. So chlorine is a drug, what we can say, and it is a poisonous. So if it is more than the amount required for the water, then it will be harmful. So before mixing the chlorine to the water, we must decide what should be the doses of the chlorine. So amount of chlorine required for water depends upon the inorganic and organic impurities present in it. So how much amount is to be mixed based on the organic and inorganic impurities present in the water. So because chlorine added to the water, it first of all reacts with the inorganic impurities. So once the chlorine added to the water, it directly reacts with the very first on the inorganic impurities, and then organic impurities, and then bacteria. So of course at the same time bacteria are also killed parallelly, but major portion of the chlorine will be utilized by the inorganic and organic impurities. So if the inorganic and organic impurities are more in water, then more quantity of chlorine is required. What does it mean? Okay, if the inorganic and organic impurities are more in water, so more quantity of chlorine required. So how it is being done? In general, see, you just go through the underlined portion of these notes. That is, in general, most of the waters are satisfactorily disinfected. Free chlorine residual is about 0.2 milligram per liter. That means after adding the water and after killing the presently available bacteria, and after utilizing by the inorganic and organic matter, the residual chlorine should be 0.2 milligram per liter. That means after utilization of all these things which is present in the water, so there must be a free chlorine or residual chlorine in the form of 0.2 milligram per liter. Do you understand? So what is being done? So when chlorine is added to the water and left for 10 minutes, okay, left for 10 minutes, after utilization of the chlorine which is added by the inorganic impurities and organic impurities and existing bacteria, again the free chlorine must be there, that is 0.2 milligram per liter. So what should be the free chlorine or residual means remaining chlorine. So free chlorine or residual chlorine must be 0.2 milligram per liter. So such a quantity of chlorine dosage must be decided for adding the water. So this is called as doses of chlorine. So how to decide this? A large chlorine residual may be cause bad tastes, okay, whereas the smaller residual may not be relied upon. So if you add smaller chlorine, the chlorine may be utilized by only inorganic and organic substances, and bacteria may be alive. So if you add more chlorine, and the residual chlorine may be more than 0.2 milligram per liter. So we have to take care that residual chlorine, there should be residual chlorine of 0.2 milligram per liter. So that is the correct dose. So the dose we have to select such that the residual chlorine must be 0.2 milligram per liter. So the effectiveness of the chlorine also depends upon the pH of the water. Since the chlorine most effective in pH of water is slightly less than 7. So if the pH of the water is less than 7, then chlorine is most effective. So optimum dose. So that means in above discussion what we have come to conclusion, we have to decide the optimum dose. What is optimum dose? Optimum dose means correct dose. You can say optimum means the residual chlorine must be 0.2 milligram per liter. It should not be neither 0.2 milligram per liter, more than 0.2 milligram per liter, or less than 0.2 milligram per liter. It must be 0.2 milligram per liter. So that is called optimum dose. So the dose of the chlorine which will allow the residual chlorine about 0.2 milligram per liter in the water is the optimum dose of the chlorine. Do you understand? So optimum dose of the chlorine for a given water is therefore generally determined experimentally by adding varying amounts of chlorine to a given sample. So how it is decided? So different amount of chlorine sample is added to the water sample for a period of 10 minutes. Then the dose which leaves residual of 0.2 milligram per liter is selected. So this dose, there is a particular equipment is available to check what is the residual chlorine or what that, okay. This particular equipment is available, that by using that particular equipment, after once the chlorine is added to the sample, and after 10 minutes it is tested for the residual chlorine. So that particular equipment, once it is used for testing the water after treatment, it will give the value. So it must give 0.2 milligram per liter. So by using that particular testing method, I think it's DPD test or something is there. So that test is being done. Okay, that after that test, the chlorine content will be known to us. So chlorine dose must be generally be increased during rainy season. So generally this dose is also depending upon the season, okay, in rainy season and in epidemics, okay. And moreover, the supply of water to reach the first consumer should take at least about 30 minutes, okay. Supply of water to reach the first consumer should take at least about 30 minutes after the chlorine is mixed in water, so as to ensure sufficient disinfecting action on pathogens and various viruses present in the water. So the chlorine dose must be generally increased during rainy season. One thing is important in epidemics also. Epidemics means if prevailing diseases are there, that is cholera, dysentery. These are epidemic diseases. So if generally such diseases are occurring during the rainy season only. So in such cases, the chlorine dose must be increased more, so that after 30 minutes also it must be having the 0.2 milligram per liter residual chlorine, okay. So this is all about today's lecture. Today I have discussed, dear friends, the introduction I have done and minor methods of disinfection I have done, and I have discussed about the major method, that is chlorination major method of disinfection. And now doses of the chlorine also I have discussed. So these four things, that is introduction, minor methods, and major method, and dose of chlorine. So these four parts I have covered today in this class. And other two part is also remaining, that is various forms of application of chlorine is also the remaining, and types of chlorination is remaining. So these two parts I will cover in the next lecture. So I think, as it is fully theoretical but quite interesting and useful, I hope you all have understood this. Tomorrow I will take the another lecture on the chlorination, the disinfection, that is the subsection, that is various forms of application of chlorine I will cover, and types of chlorination also I will cover. So tomorrow once again we will meet. I hope today you understood it clearly. And one more thing, I want to make it sure that after completing these two lectures, I will send these notes to you in PDF format, so that you can once again go through, refer those, and read it. Okay. Thank you very much.